Hey guys! Today I'm going to talk to you about exercising with hypothalamic amenorrhea. Can you do it? Can you not? First, my disclaimer is that I'm not a doctor, and actually I'm just chatting to you as though you and I were going out for coffee and you started to cry about this stuff, and I was going to talk to you as a friend who's been through this. So most women with HA are in some kind of energy deficit. Whether it's over exercising, under eating, chronic stress, or some combination of those three things, which it typically is. And so, of course, asking a chronic exerciser to not exercise is a huge ask. It's full of anxiety and denial, and it's just going to be really, really hard. But let's dive in. Do you need to reduce exercise to get your period back? Yes. Do you need to quit cold turkey? It depends. Maybe, maybe not. If you're wanting to have a baby like now, or you have maybe a health concern or prevalent condition, something that is making it like, recovery ASAP is probably the priority here, then yeah, quit your exercise cold turkey. But logic tells me, for most of you, if that's you, the problem that you're facing with your health or like wanting to have a baby is more prevalent than, your desire and need to exercise. So it's potentially easier for you to quit cold turkey in that situation. For many of us who don't have this like blaring alarm bell in front of us and we just have a missing period and we understand it's important, we want to get it back, but the anxiety of weight gain and not exercising is just like, it's really stressful. It's really, really hard. For those people, I say that you can reduce your exercise gradually and you will probably get your exercise back by slowly easing in to quitting exercise. And quitting exercise can just look like way less intensity, way, but getting there overnight feels impossible to some of us. And remember that HA is caused by an energy deficit and a high stress. If replacing exercise with sitting on the couch is going to be really stressful to you, which it could be, contrary to like your intuition, it could be really stressful for some people, then you're potentially not helping the problem. So let's talk about tips for giving up exercise and not going insane. Tip number 1 is to dress for exercise. Putting on yoga pants and a sports bra and putting your hair in a ponytail is going to help you feel a little better. So many of us feel way more, ready to get after the day when we dress as though we're going to put effort into it. And it's kind of the same with our exercise sometimes. So if you just dress like you're ready to move your body, you're going to feel maybe a little less sluggish and a little less judgmental about yourself. You know that you would, if you could, go and do a hard workout. So wear the thing. It's fine. The clothes we wear are just a huge trigger for how much effort we feel like we're putting into the day. And let's face it, if you have HA, your number one trait is effort and how much effort you put into everything. Okay, tip number 2 is to reduce high intensity exercise down to low intensity exercise. If you're quitting cold turkey, this means canceling CrossFit and just walking and never doing anything else. If you're easing back because quitting CrossFit or whatever you do is too hard, learn how to scale. Tell your coach, if you have one, or your trainer or whatever, that this is what you're doing now and you would like to change this 10-round workout down to 5 rounds. This 800 or 400 meter run down to 400, 200 meters, or even 100 meters. Reduce that 35-pound dumbbell down to 15 pounds. Make those big changes too, like not a tiny little adjustment, like 50% or more or less, whatever, you know what I mean? Cut that exercise right down. So now you still are wearing your outfit, you're still going to do your thing, but you're really starting to reduce the load that's on you. This can really help, and it's totally okay for that to be your first step. And for many of you, you will get your period back with just a reduction in how much exercise you're putting yourself through. So Congrats to you if that's all you need to do to get your period back. But it's a great place to start for people who are even still working their way down to way less. Okay, number 3 is to prioritize walking. I instilled a rule into my life, whereas if I only get time to do one kind of physical activity, I must choose walking. It's just so good for you, pumps the blood, it's great for your mind, less stressful for your body, and also it's out in the sun. Maybe I'm deficient in vitamin D. I think we're all deficient in vitamin D. So I really wanted a good way to work that in, and it just felt like the healthiest choice. I'm sure for a million reasons, it's just such a good idea to prioritize walking over other types of exercise. Number 4 is mobility. You're probably already not prioritizing stretching and mobility. So think about how much your body's gonna love it when you do. You can still set aside time for working out, but this time you're getting on the floor, you're stretching out your hips, your shoulders, and long term, you're gonna feel amazing and you're gonna have more energy and your body's gonna really thank you for it. It's just a win-win-win. Like maybe you're gonna really remove some stress from your body, from feeling pain, from feeling discomfort, and you're going to still feel productive, which I know is a problem that you have. And it's just gonna be a really good stepping stone to reducing exercise down to the point where you can get a period back. Okay, number 5 is to fill the newfound time you have not exercising with something creative and fun. For me, I started drawing again, which I hadn't done in forever. Then I was able to build up a fun little following, and now I have this great community that follow my art, and it's amazing. I really recommend just like finding your groove. Turns out no one cares if I make a 1 kilo PR. A lot of people care about what I have to draw. I'm so gonna go with that. That was very healing for me. I really recommend it, and it's the same with other things. Like I was able to make a veggie patch and go on more trips with my husband, and on those trips I had way less anxiety because I wasn't worried about how I'm going to get a workout in, where I'm going to get my food, am I going to overeat. Like those were all things that were a problem for me before that aren't now, because I have this new physical and mental space to worry less. Number 6 could be a little controversial, but I see it as a really valuable stepping stone to people who are going from super extreme exercise regime to gradually easing down. And that's to not discount your activity, your neat activity that you're doing around the house. For a lot of people, it can be triggering, and if you do have an eating disorder or something, focusing on your neat is potentially bad. But for a lot of people, I think it's kind of like the nicotine patch of quitting smoking. You can't rely on this forever, but using it as a way to remember, okay, I'm not busting my ass in the gym, but I am, reorganizing my cupboards, and I am cleaning the bathtub or whatever. I am not sitting around doing nothing. I am still an active person. These are the types of activities that can just help you through that thought process while you're struggling with like feeling lazy and feeling like you're not doing a lot of exercise. Personally, to go with this point and with the filling your time with creativity point, like I really want to be going and doing a workout right now, but instead I'm opting to sit here and make this video for you, and it's so worth it. Okay, and the last one is really important. You have to journal everything. Your brain is insane. None of your thoughts are coherent or making any sense. All you do is tell yourself everything that you suck at. Unless you have extensive experience in therapy and practicing all of these mindfulness techniques, you're not doing a good job of reminding yourself of the why behind what you're doing, of reminding yourself that your brain lies, of working yourself through anxiety and stressful inner dialogue. So when I personally can sit down and write down, I feel lazy and gross, whatever, I can then add, but I am doing this for this reason and it's worth it for this. And actually, I don't feel that way. I'm just telling myself I do. I actually feel like I have more energy. I actually feel like my skin looks way better. And you start being more intentional. You start being more intentional about the pros, the good things that you're seeing. But when you're not able to sit down and really fight those thoughts in your head and remind yourself actively why you're doing this, it's really hard. It takes a lot of practice to be able to sit there, see the negative thought about yourself come in, and fight it off in your own head. Writing it down is really, really helpful. Okay, so those are my top tips for dealing with reduction in exercise when you're a freak about exercise. But let's talk a little bit about implementation strategy. It's really important that you go in with a bit of a strategy here. You can throw everything at this and see what happens, but you're not going to know exactly what it was that worked. And maybe that's not important to you. If your priority is just to get your period back and you don't care how it happens, go for it. If you're like me and you kind of care, you can approach it with a little more of a scientific method, which is add something in, keep it the same for a while. Add something different in, keep it the same for a while. So the protocol typically with HA is to eat more food and exercise way less. So I do both, but I only change one factor at a time. So 1 month I might reduce my exercise and keep my food the same, then nothing happens. The next month I might increase my food, or I might decrease my exercise again. I just want to change one factor at a time. Maybe I add a supplement in, I'm only going to add one supplement in, or I'm only going to change one thing about how I'm working out. Like, I just want to know what things make the difference. I really prefer to make one change at a time. But if you want to month by month reduce exercise and increase calories at the same time, there's nothing wrong with doing that, and you can still get some information from that. I just like to get a little bit more information. And that has helped me because when later on in life, maybe I make an error, this just happens again for some reason. I have an idea of what worked last time and where I can start. And also, when you start to feel like things are not working, like I'm trying everything and I'm still not getting my period back, blah, blah. You can really assess like, well, what have I tried and where can I go from here? But when you're throwing everything at it and nothing's working, it's kind of hard to see like, well, what can I tweak next? You end up sort of having to start again. So that's just my 2 cents there. Now also, with exercising, I don't promise you are not someone who's going to have to give it up completely. I'm just saying you can ease into it. You may have to give it up completely. I didn't have to. My exercise is way, way more reduced. Like, my life looks way, way different, but I never had to 100% not do anything ever. That could be you, I don't know. But you do have permission to like ease into that. Okay, now to finish up, there's just 2 things I want you to be aware of that are pseudo recovery that you might be doing, thinking you're trying to recover, but actually you're not. One of those things is walking a lot or doing extra activity around the house with the mindset of, oh, I overate here and I'm actively trying to work off that food choice or something like that. If you are going for an extra walk because you want to mitigate some damage that you did, try and fight that. Please don't go and do that. Going for a walk should be to promote blood flow, to get some exercise in for just like the sake of feeling good, or because I have a problem I want to work through mentally and I want to go for a walk with that, or I want to have my shoes off and walk through the park. Like, those are good reasons. Because I ate a bagel and I need to work that off isn't a good reason. Just leave it at that. And the second one is just making sure you really are assessing and dialing. If you're not going to throw everything at this to try and triage the problem and get your period back, and you want to try a few things at once, it's all good. But, don't lie to yourself and like tell yourself, well, I'm doing all the right things, so I guess I just don't have my period. I guess I'm just stubborn. Like, just keep trying stuff. Don't lie to yourself and say that you're trying things if you're really not. Be honest, which is another benefit to journaling. You can track that kind of thing, work through your thought processes, and make sure you really are trying. So again, for most people, quitting cold turkey is going to get your period back fast, but it's just too much for a lot of people, and I totally get that. So please try that. If you need an accountability friend, find me on Instagram, Danny Sheriff. I am so down to talk to you about whatever you have going on, about how you're feeling, about what you've been trying. I'm down to have a chat in the DMs, so I'm here for you. that is my take on exercise with hypothalamic amenorrhea and trying to recover. If you have any other questions about my approach or about your approach or anything, I would love to have that conversation in the comments. So please let me know.